Hey, it's been a minute, hasn't it? More than a minute. Hope y'all are doing alright. This blisteringly hot evening. It's kind of heat where like you feel it as sort of like a weight in the air pushing in on you. Hey, Intergalactico. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. And Mia and Emmanuel, Deadly Nightshade, greetings to all of you. It's been a little while. I've been busy. Had stuff to do. Like what? You might ask. What's that? Oh, I'm fine. Thanks, though. I appreciate the concern. But yeah, doing fine. Getting through. Tomorrow's I'm gonna get through that day tomorrow. I'm gonna concentrate on that day and get through that day. And then it'll be Friday. Weekends don't really hold the same cachet or allure that they once did. You know, where you feel like you're escaping from something. It's all a cage, man. It's all a cage. Some are more well-furnished than others. Today, as I was coming home from a quick grocery trip, I saw that the garbage truck was stopped outside where I live. And it's recycling day for me. They were stopped outside, and one of the guys was on the street, and he was like pouring water on the street. And I couldn't quite tell what was going on. I had a vague idea. So I, parked my car, walked up and saw that, it was this probably a 6-foot rat snake, 5-6 foot rat snake on the tarmac, the pavement, whatever. And wasn't doing well, and he was pouring water on it because it was so hot. So he was explaining to me what I was doing, and I took a look at the snake. And clear, it had been run over, right, and its head was not to the proper shape. And it was still moving, but, I really kind of thought it was sort of just the twitching last impulses coming from a dying brain kind of thing. Got a broomstick and picked it up and put it in a thicket and poured a bunch more water over it. I think it was dead by the time we even picked it up. I couldn't stop thinking about that, like, all day. Just a snake. I happen to like the rat snakes in this neighborhood. The key is in the first part of their name. They eat them rats. But yeah, something about the way its head was shaped, and it's still. I went out and checked maybe 30 minutes ago, just before the sun went down. It's as crazy to me. It's so weird living away from the equator, this far away from the equator. So strange to me. Like, grew up, spent so much of my time where the days were pretty much, give or take an hour, pretty much always the same length. And so weird to me that the sun would be up at 9 p.m. or almost 9 p.m. As weird as it going down at 4:30, right? Which it also does here. But yeah, when I was still there, and I don't really. I'm sure like the predators that will get scavengers are going to get it, right? I think even dead, like a black snake, probably doesn't look very appetizing to a lot of creatures that might otherwise pounce on it. I don't know. We have foxes. Maybe a fox will get it. I don't know. Hey, Warp Raven. Hey, David Herman. Curtis. Yeah. Felt bad. I don't know why it kind of stuck with me. Still is sticking with me. I don't know. Some sort of symbolic meaning. Thank you, Alexa. Okay, it's telling me I'm not going to ask what the alert is. Used to be, those alerts were packages. Now it's like the equivalent of junk mail. The Alexa notification is usually, more often than not, hey, we noticed that you haven't bought this in a while, or based on your previous purchases, we think you might like this. Fuck them. Mia, life's been sucky lately, huh? Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's been tough. It's been difficult. Hey, Emily, it has been a little bit. Doing some packing. Where are you going? So that's been part of it, There's a lot of reasons for my absence. Most of it self-manufactured, probably. Some of it not. So it's been tough because I don't want to go live and feel. I don't want to spread misery. Misery loves company. Bullshit, man. Misery revels in its virality, I think, right? Like it's but I don't believe that you hear those sayings that are like a burden shared is half a burden, a joy shared is twice the joy. You gotta have some hippy dippy optimistic outlook on life to believe that shit. A burden shared just makes me worry about the other person. David, that is a mighty generous interpretation. I appreciate it. I actually think it being a snake has something to do with it. And that were it actually a more traditionally sympathetic creature, I might not ruminate so much. Perhaps because snakes are generally kind of seen as being, rather snakish. I mean, have you heard, when used in its adjective form, snake-like, it's usually pejorative, unless we're talking, it is after 9 now, is it? No, almost after 9. But I like that y'all can still come here and y'all can chat with each other. That's good. Emily, you're visiting family for a few days. Well, I hope it's for, not. I hope nobody died or is sick. Like, trying to like dance around it like that. It's ridiculous. Intergalactico, living in fear of July and August. You feel like you're not ready for what's to come. Feels grim. It feels grim. I hate winter so much. Like it is. I mean, I maybe 3 or 4 times a day think to myself, well, at least it's not winter, right? Because, my God, when I cannot go outside, although today, I really couldn't go outside for more than a few minutes. And an interesting, here's a really interesting anecdote. While I was out there, my neighbor, I've talked about like the neighborhood I live in before. There are 2 types of people who live in this neighborhood. There are millennial up-and-comers, and then there are boomers. And you can immediately tell who is who by just, is the house a 50s, 60s house, or is it a new vinyl siding McMansion? So one of my neighbors, who was a boomer, I'm not a boomer, believe it or not. Technically, I act like a boomer in many ways, but I'm not actually a boomer. My neighbor, who is a boomer, peeked out, like kind of saw what was going on, and as the trash truck pulled away, she yelled, or said loudly, "Is that a snake?" And she saw carrying it. "Is that a snake? Is that a snake?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Come here, come over here." So I went over to her front porch, and she was talking to me about the snakes and how her son doesn't like the snakes, but she thinks they're good, like for, doing what they do, keeping other vermin away, right? But I'm on the porch, and there's no covering, and it's so hot that I had to tell her, it's nice talking to you, but I cannot stand out here anymore. I feel like I'm going to die. I didn't say that part. I didn't feel that part. What was the point of that? I don't know. I'll take the heat, I guess. I'm worried about the implications. Right? But when I can't go outside because the sun went down and it's 4:45 in the afternoon, and you can feel the cold coming in through the walls, even though you have the heater on, so the air is really dry, and so your nose is bleeding and your skin is cracking. And, everything is just a mess as you try to stay warm. But obviously, too much is too much. Oh yeah, Deadly Nightshade, right. Yeah, I'm excited about this too. I can't talk about it, but it should be really soon. Probably in the next few days, is my guess. And it's a small thing. And I had actually had a couple of collabs that I had to cancel because I just could not get... I could not bring myself to do anything. And one was GB's Shrek, her Shrek ASMR, which I really wanted to do. As the big bad wolf. I was going to get to be the big bad wolf, but couldn't do it. And Tinglesmith, doing an Agatha Christie. Oh wait, I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to talk about that, so I won't say anything. But anyway, yeah, I had to pass that stuff up, and I feel like generally I need to say no more now, because I feel like I only have, even if I'm going to be able to do this, I'm only going to have the energy to do it a bit. And if I spend that energy on other people's projects, I don't know that I'll be able to get my own. But I've been, I have not been being creative. I have been being creative, in a sense of writing music, and really sort of trying to practice getting my guitar skills to where they once were, which they're never going to be. I'm never going to be able to play guitar like I did at my peak when I was 21 or 22. Well, that's not true. I'm not going to be able to play with the speed and dexterity that I was able to then, but I'll be able to do more interesting stuff, I think. It has been interesting to me. I've been trying to learn, which I will play for you all in a little bit. I don't want to do it yet. I've been trying to learn a 3-part classical piece by Agustin Barrios. Was a Paraguayan flamenco, I guess, guitar player, classical / flamenco guitar player, composer, called The Cathedral. And I've been literally working on getting this down for the better part of 6 months at least, because there's so much nuance to it. And I mean, I know it and I can play it, but there are just, not only are there parts that I know I can improve on the way they're played now, there are parts that I know I need to change the way that I'm playing them. And I find that actually very interesting. It's like a puzzle, right? As I'm playing, I'm like, I'm always stumbling at this particular passage, and then I will be like, okay, well, what other fingering can I do here? And sometimes I will find a fingering that just makes the passage just not even that easy. And it just makes it easy. Doesn't even make it intermediate level, and I'll just be sort of like, what the hell? I've been, working on trying to get through these 4 bars or these 3 bars or whatever it is, and breaking my back, as it were, because I just didn't think to do it in the 3rd position or whatever it is, right? And I like that stuff. And then there's the point where you're like, well, like how much more can I streamline it, right? And then you get diminishing returns, and you have to sort of make a call at some point. And I think I'm close on most of it. Maybe the 3rd part, which is the most complex part, maybe still has a few areas wherein I could streamline it. I'm sure that was very interesting to all of you. Let's see, what else? Tarot readings. Yeah, Warp Raven, this is true. I saw a post of yours today. It was Instagram. And it was some horns. I always enjoy seeing your posts. Oh, good, it's for a birthday, Emily. That's great. Wow, David, that's a throwback. That's almost 10 years now. I remember so much about that. I had so much fun with a lot of those. I really did. Like doing the inserts of just like weird things, like trying to give the idea that the viewer was having surgery-induced hallucinations or psychosis even. Yeah, trying to be really creepy. It's the reason I bought like my first light. it's the reason that I bought the light that I bought, because it happened to be circular. At the time, everybody was buying ring lights, and most professional lights were panel lights, so they were square or rectangular. But there was this one that was circular, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, if this is going to be my key light and it's going to reflect in my eye, I'd rather it be a circular reflection than be a square reflection. But then I also thought, well, this could double as something that looks sort of like a surgery light, or almost like a dental light or something. Yeah. Nice callback, David. Hello from Florida, where it's Woo Riders DG, where it's colder than it is here. Almost 10 degrees cooler. A few months into being 20. Yikes, man. I sometimes write sparingly in books, like notes to myself in books. And I saw one the other day. Isaac Asimov's The Intelligent Man's Guide to Science, which was a passed down book. It was my father's book. But I wrote a message to myself in that book, in the margins of that book in 1993. It was typical kind of angsty stuff. 30 years ago, I wrote in the margin of that book. And then I wrote again in like 2004, and then 2018, I think. And then I wrote again yesterday or today, whenever it was. Yeah. 20 years old. Goodness me. Correct. Which, for a while, seemed to be sort of like the forgotten generation. People, this boomer, millennial, Gen Z. Which is weird, because my recollection of Gen X is we made a lot out of our brand in the 90s. Generation Next, like with the X, and there were a lot of soft drink deals and even movies like about it. So it was weird to me that sort of got lost to time, but this is what happens as you and your life and everything that you ever cared about drifts slowly out of relevance and thus out of the world. Hey, Charlie. Good to see you. Yeah. So I guess my counter to that is, I would rather be in a hot climate in air conditioning than in a cold climate in heat, because I don't really like the way heating affects me. But I was born and raised in Miami, so I am predisposed in certain ways, right? Oh, Darth Vader, that's super nice. I want to get back into doing stuff like that. Not so much role plays. I really feel like I want to do more character-driven stuff and story-driven stuff, but not so much like established IP, you know. That was like what I wanted to do years and years ago, but the truth was, like, I just think that it's so weird that like so much of like what I do hinges on one person, but So that's what Ephemeral Rift was doing. So it's just like, well, do I want to copy Ephemeral Rift? No, I don't want to do that. I want to do something different. So I stayed away. I eschewed that, but I shouldn't. I shouldn't. Yeah, and they are the, I mean, they're in the medical symbol, the codices, codices, I don't know how to pronounce it, and the Ouroboros, right? Snake eating its own tail, and the Elder Scrolls symbology. Yeah, I like. Hey, Samantha. Pickles. I love the word. I love the word pickles. I particularly love the way it is said in Bob's Burgers. Yeah, Florida is crazy, sure, yes, so is everybody. Let me scroll down a little bit. Yes, I did do Joel a couple times. Although, interestingly enough, I never knew his last name was Miller. So, you know. Oh, thanks. This actually, so there's an example of a video that I did where I was absolutely miserable making it. So miserable making it. Did not enjoy that process at all. Not because of the process, just things that were going on at that time made that just like a horrible video for me to do. And there were things about it I was excited about. I was very excited about finally doing something that used an ellipsoidal light, something that actually cast a pattern on me, and having the, you know, contextual motivation to do so vis-a-vis the confessional booth. So I was really excited to do a shot like that, and I was really happy with the way the shot looked. I don't love like what I did in it, but what do you do? What are you gonna do? And I do love Midnight Mass. Great. This is another one. This I did not want to turn this into like a talking about past glories video, but miserable making that one. Although there were parts that I had a lot of fun on. I went pretty over the top on that one for me. That set like a new personal best, personal PR, a personal record for number of lights, number of microphones. Like that was the first time I actually like mapped out areas where I could stand, and I had those areas mic'd. So it's like, okay, I could stand here on the side of the table, and then I could walk over here and stand here, and I would be mic'd in both those areas. And I had those areas marked, right, like on the floor, so that I could have a little more dynamism, not be stuck in one spot, and not be doing anything like a lav mic, God forbid. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, I want to do more stuff like this. Nightshade. I mean, I wouldn't do that. Like, do I still? I don't know. The Rift ones are probably on. make those public again. I think enough time has passed. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really remember exactly what happened. I have to go back and check. But the other ones, no. Oh, hey, Juan, I've missed you. $48? Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, so Emily, I've read about this, and I've read both sides of it, where they're like, well, it's not really that hot, and then, yeah, but Britain is not really made, their infrastructure is not such that it can absorb this kind of stuff in the way that America can. Regardless, I sympathize and hope that y'all get through it. Wow, Charlie, I'm trying to remember this. Is this the Thomas Ligotti video? I don't remember. I'm not sure what you're referring to. It's starting to rain here. Oh, amazing. I'm going to open the window a little bit just for a little ambient sound. A little ambient rain sounds. Oh, yeah. Can you all hear that? It's raining. I'll bet you it's like that really hot rain. Which I actually like. Yeah, that was one where, oh, excuse me. Bring this down. That was one where I enjoyed the writing of it. Like, I just wanted it to go off the rails, like halfway through. And I had fun with that. But you can only do that so many times before it's just like, oh, he's doing that thing again. Same thing with like kidnapping scenarios, I've tried to avoid those. But I'm also now at the point where I'm like, does it really matter? Unlikely at this point. Look, if you're really interested in Pioneer's Lash, like, and you really want to, like, experience the story of Pioneer's Lash, let's see. Is this available somewhere? There's a playthrough of it. Yeah, just look for or download and play this game. Download and play Small Town Terrors, Pilgrim's Hook, and there is Pioneer's Lash. I don't remember if I was still working for Bethesda at the time when I also wrote this game. There was a time when I was doing both. A brief overlap there. Don't tell. It might have been after, though. Some of that time is blurry. But anyway, the story in that game is 100% just the story of Pioneer's Lash. Pilgrim's Hook, Pioneer's Lash. So, you can get your conclusion, and your most of the characters like slightly different names. You are going to have to play like a very dated hidden object game to get through it, though, which might be more than anyone should be asked to do. But yeah, Small Town Terrors, Pilgrim's Hook. And just in your head, whenever you hear Pilgrim's Hook, just replace it with Piner's Lash in your head. Alchemy. You've been doing a rewatch recently and taking notes on everything seems important just in case you ever resume it. Yeah. See previous comment. Oh, Sam. Well, I noticed, from your profile picture. Interesting note. The most played video on my channel, like for the past 3 or 4 months in a row now, has still been the Joker video. Am I horribly depressed by that? Possibly. Oh, I fucking loved doing the Broadchurch video because I just loved that show so much, and I knew it was just gonna be a mess trying to do a Scottish accent, and so I just leaned into it. And I was renting a house in Arlington, Virginia, where I didn't find this out until after, but the chair I was sitting in, the person who owned the house, his boyfriend died in that chair just a couple months before. I probably wouldn't have. I'm glad he didn't tell me because I was in that house for like 4 or 5 months or something like that. And I probably would have been like a little freaked out by that. Isn't there though, Warp Raven? There's a romance there. There's a romance to like, and it's probably a privileged romance, right? Because you're dealing with, sort of in Britain, what they would call like Little Englanders, right? Or, people sort of set in their ways who don't want anything to change. A lot of rituals, but also it's quite beautiful, and I like the architectural style. Yeah, this is true, Nightshade. This is true. Yeah, that was not meant to be the actual video. It started as a lighting test, and it started as a makeup test. And then I was like, okay, well, I might as well just do the lighting and do like a run through. Didn't know what I was going to do or say or whatever. And I had not seen the movie. So, and I even remember when I was done, I was like, okay, let's rewatch that and see what notes we can take on what to do and not do for the real deal. And then it was just like, oh man, I can't. I'm either going to put this one out, or I'm never going to do it. Well, and as quickly as the rain came, it stopped. It did sound nice for a little while. Wait, what? I have no idea what's being referred to here, Charlie. Zero clue. I do like summer storms. Man, I don't know. You know, I will be honest with you. Sometimes, when recording videos around that time, I may have indulged in some sort of mind expanding assistive ingestance that maybe made it difficult to recall, although, you know, just saw this while cleaning up today. He's always around. Never fully goes away. He's actually like a dumb looking demon. At the risk of like invoking his wrath, looks like a pug. Looks like he's gonna have hip issues as he gets older. $8. Wow. It's not worth it. You know, there was a time when I was like sort of working with a friend of mine, churning those out. You want a ripe target to be taken over by AI. How about the stories for hidden object games? Oh, one. It made you smoke. See, I can't stand smoking. It is one of my it is a vice that I used to smoke a lot. A little thunder coming. Used to smoke a lot. Quit more than 20 years ago. And now I can't even stand a whiff of smoke. Really gets to me. So I'm to the bottom of comments here. So let me talk about what else I've been doing. Sort of get to the things that I had on the schedule here. One of the things that I've been trying to get into more is photography, right? I went ahead and invested in a medium format camera some time ago, which is, you know, the sensor is larger than a full frame sensor, and went ahead and got their, it's the Fuji GFX 102. You've seen me probably bring it up before. Got their 500 millimeter lens, which looks like a Canon, and so on medium format, 500 millimeter is like a 400 millimeter equivalent or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'll tell you what, something that's beautiful to me, the front glass element on this lens, it's 95 millimeter, so it's really, really big. Right? Look at that, how big that front element is there. That's something else, huh? None of the filters for any of the lenses that I have will fit this lens. The front element is just way too big. So it's this handle is, I just took it from one of my Blackmagics that I had been using it on, and I just kind of screwed it onto the foot here, so it helps with keeping things steady. But yeah, I have been in love with this thing and the kind of photography that it allows, for instance, we had a full moon just a couple weeks ago. And just with that lens, handheld, I brought out a tripod at one point, but I didn't need it. Handheld, I was able to take this image. Let's see, I'm going to... Yeah, there we go. This is the image of the moon. And you're probably, well, it's alright, right? The thing is, since it's a medium format camera, like, you can really get it in there and do stuff with it. So this is the raw. I'm not even sure if this is the best image that I got, but just like going in there, juking up the contrast, and doing some sort of creative sharpening. Doop. Doop. I'll tell you something that what really wowed me is when I was doing this and I started to increase some of the settings that would bring out texture in the moon. Tell you what I noticed. I'll show you. You'll see it happen here. See what's happening? Look at that. That is not sensor noise. It's not sensor noise. Those are stars, my friend. Single pixel stars. Amazing to me. I was just amazed. And so I love the camera, I love the sensor, and I love that lens. That it can do this. It's just astounding, I think. In a lot of ways, we live in terrible times. Is it still echoing? Is it still echoing now? It might be just that when I was in that other mode, I had a window open. Before I move on, I just want to know if it's still echoing. Should not be echoing anymore. But if you could let me know, that would be great. Okay, no echo, great. Now when I go back to desktop playthrough, so now I know why it was echoing. Okay, there. So now it should not be echoing, and we can get desktop playthrough. Yeah, just like these stars appearing, it was very unexpected. And of course, like I looked at where like there were little clusters here. I don't know, is that the Pleiades there? I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? And then, wanting to just go out and do, here's another little cluster here. Just do like a time lapse. Like this was, maybe 1/500th of a second shutter speed. So I just increased that to, that meringue is nuts, huh? Just increase that a little bit. And who knows? Like, this just reminds me of like old school EGA graphics on the PC, like Starflight or something like that. Except, actual stars. What is this thing here? What the hell is this? I mean, maybe some of this is sensor noise. I don't think so, though. I want to find it. It's like treasure hunting. Makes me want to just go take pictures of the sky on clear nights and then just spend hours combing through each image in the hopes of finding something magical, you know? Something else, huh? And yeah, the GFX 100 is not a cheap camera, but you can do this with a cheap camera. Like, we're it's an embarrassment of riches almost. Kaylin, you felt like you were in a real planetarium. Anyway, I was, like I said, quite excited by that. Like, that excited me. That made me want to go out and like do more stuff, you know. And that's the sort of thing that, you know, I'm trying to find those elements of life and grab onto them and not let go, you know. Because, you know, for instance, Emily, right? You just turned 20. Like, when you're very young, younger than 20, everything is exciting. These moments of exciting become more elusive and more difficult to, at least this is one person's experience. They become more difficult to hang on to, more difficult to have any sort of permanence to them. So, you know, when you, or when I find them, I hold on for dear life. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've been working on for the past several weeks. I'm going to need my headphones on, and I'm going to need some reverb. Oh yeah, got some reverb going on. Yeah, this is like Charlie, right? I don't care what. Why is it not showing up? Okay. Oh, no. Yeah, that stuff never ceases to sort of make me go, whoa, you know. Thinking about, you know, the light of dying stars being sent to little old me's camera and being captured. Yeah, you've seen it before, probably. I don't know, may have heard a collective groan, and I will see the watch numbers drop precipitously as I say, yes, I'm going to play through as much as I can of Agustin Barrios's La Catedral. Now I'm going to be playing it a little slower than it's supposed to be played because this is ASMR, and I'm trying to play it in a way that, you know, is relaxing for everybody. And I guarantee you it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not technically able to play it to speed. It may have something to do with that fact. Okay, so this is part one, and it's kind of a chimey. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. Let's turn down this air. So it's chiming. The first part is chiming, and it's supposed to be you enter the cathedral. So that's part one. You're in the cathedral, or you're entering the cathedral. Part two is you're experiencing the Mass, I suppose. And it goes directly into it, so part two. Something's a little out of tune. All right, so part two. Imagine we're just picking up where we left off. That's part 2, the shortest of all the parts. And now, the part that still gets me, and will undoubtedly get me here. So forgive all the fuck-ups. So part 3 is your experience in the cathedral is ending. You're going out back into the world and experiencing the chaos of the world outside the cathedral. But when it starts, you're still in the cathedral. Some major flubs there. I apologize. Let's get rid of the reverb, the air back in. So yeah, I find that piece to be interesting from a compositional perspective, and interesting from like the perspective of a player. Interesting. Interesting from the sort of storytelling that it does. Like there's some parts there where, now how much of this was like planned and how much of it was sort of done ad hoc afterwards, who knows? But like that is supposed to be the chimes of the cathedral. While you go about your day, you know, your busy day is this sort of arpeggiation being done underneath it, and the other notes are, you know, hearing the bells sort of recede in the background as they actually do when as you're playing. I find all that stuff to be really fascinating and fun. I wish my hands had the sort of fortitude that they once did. Not only are they not as dexterous as they once were, but I can't play as long as I used to. Which, you know, whatever. And there are a few parts there that I'm like doing these legato runs that aren't really supposed to be legato, but it's easier for me to do it that way. I'm gonna take any sort of handicap I can get. Don't know if that's poor use of that word, but thank you for being nice. I'm saying that before I look at the comments. I'm assuming that you're going to be nice. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Charlie, you know what is a little weird to me too, is like when I talk about the things that have faded away, you know, as you reach middle age. Joy in music is one of those things that just sort of doesn't have the appeal, and doesn't have the effect on me that it once did. You know, a piece of music that can move me I find those to be rarer and rarer, and I don't think you know, it would be sort of self-aggrandizing and arrogant to be like, well, it's because my ear has become more discerning. I don't think that's the case. Speaking of that kind of stuff, I watched a video the other day from Rick Beato, who I like, and you know, I watch a lot of his videos. But he was talking about sort of he basically was calling it like, why does music suck today? And one of the things that he said was, you know, there's a lack of innovation because of the homogenization of the tools that people use. And I found it interesting that you could very easily tweak the phrasing of what he said a little bit there, and you could say that he finds the democratization of the ability to create music leads to homogenization. I do believe that like something gets lost from the fact that like everybody is using the same drum samples, etc., right? But I think that what I feel like he missed was what is gained there, which is people who have neither the resources nor perhaps the personal inclination to join a band or an orchestra, or be part of an orchestra, or be part of something larger, are able to, with just an iPad, create music that would have taken tens of thousands of dollars and lots of people to make anything close to 20 or 30 years ago. And I wonder, like, having all these single people, like everybody's an auteur essentially, right? So you do lose something when it comes to like that band dynamic or that sort of Lennon-McCartney competition, I suppose, right? But I also feel like you gain something, and it's just a different, we're stressing different attributes, and it's almost like an interesting A/B test. Of course, it's going to take 100 years to run the test, and we're in the middle of it, so it seems daunting. But the idea that, anyone can make music and has the tools to do so at their fingertips. And I am obviously, like, there is a threshold there of like, you need to have access to an iPad or a laptop, right? You need to have been able to go to a school, or at least be privileged to be taught enough to be able to experience these things, or even like be in a situation where the idea of art is even something you can entertain and not say, you're just living every day hoping that you're not killed or, thrown from your homeland, right? I don't know. I guess something about that video rubbed me the wrong way, and I just listened to it it just came out like a day or two ago. So I haven't had the time to sort of think about it and put my finger on it. I just feel like I agree. It's more of like a yes and, right? Or a yes but. Yes, there has been an increased homogenization in the tools that are used to make music, but there's also been a corresponding increase in the reach of the ability to make music. And you could say that the homogenization of the tools leads to homogenization of the music itself, or sort of discourages innovation. But you could also say that, as a sort of mass mind doing this collective experiment and constantly trying different things and experiencing what is the homogeny that he's complaining about, you also have people who are being pushed in different directions and are able to react to that homogeny and become innovative by way of, like, almost as a reaction to it, I don't know that I'm expressing myself very well, but hey, Imaginary MDA, thank you. Mia, thank you. Nightshade, Warp Raven, y'all are way too nice. Oh, well, I think that was his intent. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely have to work on the third part some more, but I appreciate it. Someone saying I look like Otto Hightower, some old dude with a beard from Game of Thrones, probably Song of Ice and Fire. You were probably right. Let's see. Did I? I did. It was wrong backwards. Sorry. Wouldn't have made a difference. It's mono. Mono mix. Yeah, correct. I agree with this. I mean, he's got a little cantankerous about him, but I don't think he is. I think he's usually pretty open to stuff. And I do think he has a point. I just think, there's another point to be made there too. And we're all going to go through this. Like, we're all going to experience the world pulling away from us and the things that, like, we have established to ground ourselves in it. So, I mean, I also try to think about that when talking to anybody from any generation, right? Like, it's like your team, This is the team that you were. Okay, well, now I'm guessing, is Otto Hightower the Onion Knight? I don't remember. I read the song. I read the first 4 books, but I don't remember which one is Otto Hightower and why is my Google Chrome being crappy. Oh, are you kidding me? Isn't this Paul Bettany? I take this as quite a compliment. Okay, I might have to look into doing a role play here for Otto Hightower. I assume he was not. He's in House of the Dragon or whatever the new one is. I have not watched it. So I don't know offhand, but I will. That's a lie. I probably won't. There's too much on my plate right now. Right now I'm watching Severance, which I avoided for a long time because of Adam Scott. And it's weird because, like, he's been in so much stuff that I like, but something about him I just don't. He makes me. I get an ick feeling from the guy. And when I watch a new episodic, by the way, like, I have not acknowledged that Inside Number 9 ended about a month ago. A little less than a month ago. A couple weeks ago, they aired the last episode of Inside Number 9 after 9 series, as they'd say, which is the perfect way to do it. 9 series, Inside Number 9. I am one of those people who Reese and Steve would hate, who just really feels like the show only really had like maybe 3 good seasons, and then it was just sporadically brilliant, as opposed to, I really feel like those first 3 seasons they just didn't miss, except for one episode. You know what episode I'm talking about. Yeah, it's that episode. Oh, you're right, Warp Raven. Why did I don't know why I confused him with Paul Bettany, but yes. The guy from Notting Hill. What did I eat for dinner last night? Why? I don't think I could do Billy Butcher. I have been watching the new series of The Boys, and I do. Yeah, I mean, I love The Boys. I mean, I love Garth Ennis, right? Everything he's done, really. Particularly Preacher, right? He's a very good anti-establishment. And I also sort of enjoy the outrage that there seems to be a collective moan of discontent from the right on realizing that although how did anyone not see that The Boys has always been about as woke as it can get? Ridiculous. So I don't know what I ate for dinner last night. I don't remember. Yeah. Oh, I do remember what I had for dinner last night. There's a place called Honeygrow, and they do bowls. So I had a bowl of something garlicky. I think. I'm almost positive. Brody, you just joined. Good to see you. The topic is, hope you all have a great night.